There's an island in the middle of the Ross Sea near Antarctica that does not show up at all on Google Maps, no matter how far you zoom in. So, what is hiding here? Why does it not show up? And is anything currently going on here? I will answer all of those questions today and see what else we can find. Let's explore. Starting off, the only reason I even knew about this island was two of you commented about it, and one of you said it's east of the Balleny Islands, and the other one of you said that it's completely hidden. And I really tried to zoom in and look for it, but I could not for the life of me find it. When you type in Scott Island in the Google Maps search bar, you get a bunch of different places. However, when you click on this first one, it does appear to be the right one. I'm zoomed in as far as I can right now, and all you see is blue ocean, and it's super blurry around this area. There's absolutely nothing around it, so we got to do a lot more exploration to see if there's anything on this place and the history behind it. Surprisingly, there's actually a lot of photos of this place, and there's even reviews, so we gotta check these out. First, let's look at the reviews. Ronan says, "This place looks amazing. I'd love to live here." Really? We talking about the same place? Ooh, this one's good. They say, "An island with some mysterious power. Everyone is attracted to its charm and wants to see it at first sight. It is a heritage and a mysterious place that humanity should leave behind. I'm glad that it's protected by the Antarctic Treaty." Okay, that's something we gotta look into also. Very mysterious island. All right, I think we've seen enough reviews. So it looks like this person took their boat really close to Scott Island. They took a bunch of pictures while they were there back in 2013. And it's kind of interesting seeing this because it looks like there's two different islands here. One of them is just this pole sticking out of the ground, and the other has little coves around it and is topped with ice. It doesn't seem to have anything else going on. It also looks like there's no real shore on this place besides maybe this area, and it looks like the waves can be pretty brutal here. Someone else posted these photos in 2020. They're even more eerie than the other ones. They have this kind of old look to them, but you can see the island from above a little bit better. It looks like the main island has half of it covered with an ice cap and the other is just exposed rock. And then there's the second part of the island over here that's kind of on its own. There doesn't appear to be any buildings here, but maybe there was in the past. First, let's look at other mapping websites to see if any other website actually shows this when you zoom in really far. And then let's learn about the history of this place, see if there's any buildings here, and see if anyone visits it today. I'm going to try trusty old Apple Maps because sometimes surprisingly this shows a lot of these remote islands a lot better. So let's put in the coordinates and we have nothing. It's that exact same spot, but it also does not show the rocks. Okay, so I'm on Map Carta and it does have an entry for Scott Island. However, this also doesn't show it on the maps, but maybe it has more information about it. So it has one photo from Wikimedia and it shows those same two places that we saw in Google Maps. So that's a good sign that we're actually in the right place. But I'm not going to stop until I can actually see this island from satellite view. All right, so we're going to NASA Worldview now, which is a lot more detailed than those other maps. But the problem is we got to actually find it. Here are the Balleny Islands, and it's somewhere to the east of them. Let's just put in the coordinates. Okay, it's going all the way this way. Oh gosh. Okay. So for some reason it took us to the dark part of the screen, but NASA Worldview does show an outline of something here, but it's just not giving me the actual satellite view. For some reason, NASA Worldview leaves out this little chunk right here, right where Scott Island happens to be, so I don't know what to make of that. Well, never mind, I just had to go back in time a little bit, and it shows that area, but there's always cloud coverage over there. I finally found a date that doesn't have cloud coverage, but there's just simply not enough resolution in that area to be able to see it. Yep, even as zoomed in as possible, you cannot see it, and there's a weird black and white line just to the left of it. I'm going to give this one more shot. So I tried my best, could not find anything from satellite view, but came across this website from Antarctica, New Zealand, and it does show a lot of new pictures that I hadn't seen before of Scott Island. These pictures seem to be from 1981, and they show a bit more of what those other photos from Google Maps showed. You can see one of the coves right here where you can actually land, but the rest of it's a sheer cliff. Here's another really cool picture where the water is really still for once. And like a lot of these really remote Arctic or Antarctic islands, the only way to actually get on them is by helicopter landing from a boat nearby. So looks like that's what they did back in this 1981 expedition. But if you're wondering what New Zealand has to do with this part of Antarctica, Well, it all goes back to the Ross Dependency and honestly the Antarctic Treaty in general. So, a lot of you were asking about my unknown island from the last video and why it seemed like France was claiming it, even though no one should be able to claim Antarctica. Decades ago, a lot of countries laid claim to part of Antarctica that usually is nearest to their actual home country, like New Zealand, directly south, claimed this Ross Dependency. There are exceptions, like France randomly claiming the sliver that has unknown island in it. Australia claims some of this, same with Chile and a bunch of other countries. No country can technically own it because of the Antarctic Treaty, which basically states that Antarctica should remain not under the control of any specific country and just be used for scientific exploration and for a nature reserve, as well as a bunch of other stuff, and not to conduct any nuclear test here or anything else that's going to completely damage this area. Because honestly, this is one of the last parts of the world that hasn't really been touched by a lot of human exploration or mining or other stuff like that. To get to the history of this place, Scott Island and Haggitt Pillar were discovered only in 1902. So this was one of the last discovered islands in the world. There were a lot of other smaller islands in Antarctica and in the high Arctic near Russia that were discovered after this point. But because of how small and remote it is, it's very unlikely that anyone's going to randomly come across this place. Now, I did read that there was an automatic weather station on this place from 1987 to 1999. And if you've watched my channel, you know I love looking for these automatic weather stations on these remote islands. So let's see what I can find on that. Somehow I came across this website from University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I actually found a photo of what this weather station on Scott Island was. So here it is. This photo was taken in 1988. Looks like about a year after it was put up. And it's not as impressive as I would have thought. It has a little, what looks like a wind monitor on top and probably temperature gauges and other stuff that I don't know much about, but super cool. Let's see if we can find the exact location of where this was on the island. I see this black rock in the back, but I don't think that's Haggitt Pillar. And it's also on some snow right here. So if I were to guess, I think the ice cap station was on the edge or in the middle of this ice cap, and the black pillar that we see in the back isn't Haggitt's pillar, but instead this black rock right here, but I definitely could be wrong. It also has some data from this automatic weather station, and its maximum temp it recorded was in 1993. Out of the entire time it was there, it was 5.5 degrees Celsius, was the warmest it got, and the coldest it got was negative 32.6. It's interesting because it shows a map of some other weather stations in the area. You can actually click on them and see, like, this one is the Whitlock Automatic Weather Station. It looks to be a lot more advanced than the Scott Island one. Has a little solar panel on it. Here's, I guess, the wind tracker, and it looks like it's held up by poles because this thing looks pretty flimsy out there, and I'm sure the weather is awful, so you gotta make sure this thing doesn't just get blown away. I clicked on Young Island, and there's just one photo, but it's pretty sick. Look at this helicopter just carrying this payload around. I think it would be so cool to be in one of these helicopters going over these remote Antarctic islands. I wish I had the scientific expertise to be part of these expeditions, but that is not the field I went down. Another interesting thing at the bottom of the Wikipedia article on Scott Island mentions that crew members of the ship MY Steve Irwin was married on this island. I wanted to find out more information about this, and I clicked the reference that Wikipedia gave me, but unfortunately it said page not found, and I couldn't find any other info on this thing. So if any of you know about this, or if you were on that ship, please let me know. I'd love to hear about that. But anyways, it looks like the weather station is not there anymore today. As for the question of why can't we see it on Google Maps or any other satellite service, I think the answer is it's just too small and too remote. There's a video that Tom Scott, who's an absolutely awesome YouTuber, did about 4 years ago about Kolbeinsey, which is a small, remote, tiny rock really far away from Iceland that also doesn't show up on Google Maps. No matter how far you zoom in, you cannot see it. It's kind of the same situation. There's some photos about it, there's some information, there's a Wikipedia article about it, but you just cannot see it on here. And in Tom Scott's video, he actually flew out to this place and saw it for his own eyes, which was awesome. And that's something I would love to do in the future, but currently the budget does not allow for that. But it seems like it just doesn't show up because it's just not important enough and it's just too small. Do you guys have any other theories about why you can't see this on Google Maps or any other mapping services and why there's not much info on this place? Also, if you like this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. And if you like this video, you'll probably like this video in the bottom left corner. Thank you so much for watching.